How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the San Jose Sharks franchise mode, episode number 23, headed into the 2028 draft and off season. In the last one, we had an incredible 57-win season, back-to-back President's Trophies, a deep postseason run, which was ultimately ended by the Dallas Stars. We swept through the Flames, we swept through the Kings, but then we lost in 6 to the 8th seed Dallas Stars. We went down 3-0. After winning 8 consecutive games, we lost 3 in a row. Came back with a couple, but then lost in Game 6 overtime. The Stars would go on to win the Stanley Cup in 5 games against the Lightning, 2028 champions. But we had such great performances. We had Chaz Lucius carrying the team, 12 goals and 23 points in 14 games. Evgeny Malkin at the age of 41 put up 18 points. Glass, Hurdle, Bedard, all above point per game. Jonathan Drouin, his crazy season continued. Goaltending, Linus Ullmark at the age of 34 went 10-2-2 with 907 save percentage. In the end, got beat up a little bit by the Stars, 2.59 goals against average, but great numbers. So all that to say, we had a great season. Our core is still intact. We have a couple contracts to take care of, but we have the money to take care of them. We will start to see some of the, I don't want to say like the outskirt type players, but like the secondary core starting to change. What I mean by that is a player like Esa Lindell, an 83 overall defenseman who's been top 4 for the last few years. We're likely saying goodbye to him in this episode. Luke Cunnin, who's been a part of the bottom 6 since the start of this franchise mode, we're likely saying goodbye to him. Lindell was a deadline pickup. He then ended up playing 3 more full seasons with us. It's been a great time having him a part of the team, but now he's a 34 overall. The biggest question will be Jonathan Drouin. Lucius is going to need a contract. It'll be costly, but we will re-sign him. I'm not sure what his demand will be after the draft. Currently wants $18 million, so we'll see what happens there. But if we can understand that Lucius is re-signing, Lindell is likely walking, Cunnin is likely walking, and Drouin is still a question mark, we still have the rest of the team intact. Bedard, Hughes, Buchnevich, Eklund, Hurdle, Glass, at least for one more season before more contracts start to expire. Glass will need a new deal. Buchnevich will need a new deal in the 2029 offseason. So we still have another season, I'd say, with this group before another couple major pieces likely change. We'll start to see the younger players taking bigger roles. Guys like Ranta, who we're going to see joining the team, another big piece that we're excited for. We drafted him last year, 8th overall. We kept him unsigned over in Europe. Samu Ranta, who was an 82, now he's up to an 83. He scored 46 points in Liga, so I'm looking forward to having him as, at the very least, a third liner, maybe part of the top 6 if Drouin walks, but he will be a future part of our top 6, absolutely. Continuing growth from Ricky Brain, from Lease, from Lowry. So I think the future is in good hands, but we don't want to change up too much of the core at the moment. That's why I'd love to keep Drouin, but we can't sacrifice the future of the team to do that. Before we dive into the comments from the assistant general managers, I also want to recap the draft pick situation. It's not going to be the most exciting draft, I don't think. We have 2 first-round picks. We got Tampa's first, but unfortunately ended up being 31st overall as they won the Eastern Conference. So as of now, we're picking at 30 and 31. Then we pick again 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round there. The watch list, there is a player at 27 who we were looking at last episode that we might want to look to trade up for. But I don't see this being an exceptionally exciting draft in terms of the players we draft, but perhaps the players that we move out, as we'll see in the comments, moving the rights maybe of Esa Lindell, maybe players that we're ready to give up on who just aren't developing, such as Larry Tongue. Also forgot to mention that Ullmark's contract is expiring. He was making $3.25 million. He would be willing to take a pretty cheap contract to come back for one more season. Torsten Hornquist, however, will likely be at the very least splitting starts next season. Our high elite prospect, 2nd round pick in 2024. He's ready to get some NHL time after a few years down in the AHL. So with about $25 million in cap space once the offseason gets going, we have to consider the starting goaltending position, the top 4 defense. Does Lindell walk? Do we call up Aaron Kiviharju, who will slot into the top 4 maybe already? 22 years of age, he's a 79, he has the X factors, we want to get him into the NHL. Do we have enough to try and re-sign Drouin for one more year? What does that mean for Ranta? So there's a lot of different things to consider this offseason, absolutely, and that's where the assistant general managers come into play. Louis leaving a comment saying, I think it's time to let Allmark go. He dropped to an 82 overall after the series, maybe because of morale. But anyway, at 34, 35 years of age, his potential might drop as well as his overall. Not really worth $2.5 million, but if you could get him around 1 to 1.75 for 1 year, it might be worth it. Honestly, I agree with that. It's not really the overall here in NHL 23, always in franchise mode, but especially in NHL 23, we've been seeing that it's just find a goalie who seems to sim well. Allmark's had a couple of good seasons. Even if his overall drops, I'd love to have him at least share the crease with Hornqvist if he's going to take $1.8 million or whatever that is. Trade the rights to Esa Lindell to a rebuilding team, maybe. Same thing for Drouin, as he has more value than Lindell. If it's too tight to re-sign him, ship his rights to a team on the Eastern Conference, not Montreal. Merci, Louis. RJ Ramjan884 commenting, nice video as always. Thank you kindly, my friend. But a disappointing end to the season, sadly. We'll be back. But I would try to move up to get Joel Reese, since I'm not sure there are many NHL-ready steals this year. That's the guy who's going at 27. The NHL ETA says 1 year away, so I would hope maybe a low 70 overall. I also did see a medium elite gem at 65th overall. Maybe look at him as a potential pick, since trading for the pick wouldn't be as difficult since it's mid-second round. I think we have a pick around 62 if I'm not mistaken, so maybe that'll work out. Definitely sign Ranta to his ELC for sure. Looking forward to him getting into the lineup. I'm not sure what to do with Philip Bystedt. Neither do I. But I'd say either get him on the third line or higher, and if it doesn't work, maybe trade him. That's all I really have to say on my behalf. Continue the good work, Data, and go Sharks. Thank you for leaving that comment. Wild Bronco Scott commenting, you know how I feel about hiring Pavelski as goalie coach, LOL. Hire him as an AHL or assistant, not goalie coach. Joe Pavelski, 43 years of age, just retired. He's now a coach. We'll want to get him into our coaching system and hopefully be an NHL piece behind the bench someday soon. I think Bystedt needs a change of scenery. He's now 24, so his growth potential is limited, especially after a bit of a down year. He did better the year before with less ice time on the fourth line. We gave Ranta an extra year in Europe, so he should be third line ready at minimum. So unless Glass or Lind move on, Bystedt is stuck at fourth line with us. Now, that's not the worst thing if we can accept that, but I don't know. It depends on what we're looking to do. Are we still trying to get growth out of him? We want to trade him while he still has some value left. It's the same for Larry Tanguay. At this point, Tanguay is who he is. Either accept him as a 13th forward potential guy or move on. Excited to get Kiviharu NHL time next season. Now talking about Kniazev and Pickering, they're actually both two-way D, who are, I believe, 24 and 27 respectively. I'm a big fan of those two, especially Kniazev, who has like 95 shot blocking and all that. So I'm happy to keep them as our third pair, especially with the understanding that I would like to get Kiviharu on the second pair, even if he's a bit above where he should be. Getting the chemistry with Rodin will hopefully help the growth. Shifting over to the Discord server now and skimming through Dabrowski's comment, who compartmentalized all of his thoughts very well. Thank you very much. Goaltending. I believe that our issue here in the postseason was the goaltending. Although Allmark is a beast, I believe we should bring up Hornqvist, absolutely, as he may be, with his potential, the next great goalie in San Jose, and possibly either move down or trade Lindbergh at the deadline. Defense, I don't believe we should go and re-sign Esa Lindell. Lindell, although usually decent, is aging, and I believe that we should trade him so we could bring up Kiviharu. Unfortunately, as much as we love Lindell and as much as he's given to this franchise, we got him his ring. It's been a great time having him. I think trading his rights makes the most sense at the draft. Offense, as I said with Esa Lindell, he's aging. So is this core. Drouin, Bushnevich, and I would maybe not Lucius as much, but I would say even Thomas Hertl. Although we have an aging core, we must get a young forward in the draft. We do already have guys like Ranta in the system, but we do have to consider restocking the shelves with younger forwards, several young forwards even, to keep us afloat, according to Dabrowski. Although I'm not requesting you trade aging guys like Drouin, for example, we must do something about it 100%, such as how we replaced an aging Carlson with the Latvian locomotive, Boris Kalinin. We must do that with the forward core, so we'll think about that in this draft. For the coaching, we got to get Pavelski. If we get little Joe in the front office, that would be a beautiful addition and add some imaginary chemistry in the San Jose front office. Those are my thoughts. I wonder what the others will say, and let's go Sharks. Thank you, Dabrowski-Ego. Speaking of what others have to say in the Discord server, Pat leaving comments saying, Rodin achieved cone status. If you're part of the Discord server, you know what that means. In the Stars series, both overtime goals were mostly his fault. Tough way to go out, but no shame in the results. I would not make any drastic changes, and definitely don't go wasting cap on a goalie. Even Ottinger, who seemed to stand on his head, allowed multiple 6-goal games. Until the game simulates like goalies matter, they still do not. A lot of comments, as always, headed into an off-season, especially after losing in such an unfortunate fashion. So I'll go ahead and end it off here with JP Catalano in the Discord server. As always, many more comments that were gotten to off-screen, but just not enough time in the episode to read all of them out here. Thank you so much for taking the time to leave them. Each and every one of them is appreciated. JP Catalano says, such a heartbreaking way for this run to end. Certainly the repeat was just not in the stars for us, but I'll see myself out. We soldier on. Honestly, this offseason gives me some parallel vibes to the NFL Philadelphia Eagles offseason. We have a superstar that we need to lock down to a long-term contract, Chaz Lucius. We have a lot of long-term pieces that are eligible for free agency, and we have a top-heavy draft class with high-quality picks, but few in quantity. So for the draft, despite our high-quality picks, it appears this draft class isn't the strongest way to capitalize on that pick quality. Agreed. I thought about potentially trading down and recouping many picks, but the value just is not there. I agree, it's not a very deep draft. The pick I feel strongest in targeting is left wing Watkins, medium playmaker gem, with our second round pick. Outside of that, I could defend staying put and drafting Bicek, who is a low elite, and Chung, I forget who that player was, we'll see in the draft. But that does not address our win now mentality. I feel we need to look into maybe trading up for NHL ready / 1 year away talent. Maybe that's Reese, that guy who at 27th is 1 year away. But I would not squander future resources to do so. Perhaps we trade some of the forwards. I'll be brutally honest, our fourth line forwards did nothing in the playoffs. If Bystedt or Tanguay have any trade value, we should move them for future considerations. We've given them plenty of chances, but they are just not working out for us. I'm seeing that. It's interesting. You know, we have some players in the draft, like guys like Tanguay, guys like Eugene Riley. You take them, they're 77, 78, 2-3 years later, they're still at the same spot. Is it better to take a 60 overall guy and hope that he grows over someone who's already at a 70 and he doesn't seem to grow? That seems to kind of be the case sometimes. But despite the NHL playing time, they are just not developing as we need them to. Cunnin is cheap enough to bring back on a short deal, but he is on very thin ice after his playoff performance. I'd also bring back Drouin on a 1-year deal. He has earned it. He would hold the spot for 1 year for Ranta, who makes the third line this year. You have the lines looking Lucius, Bedard, Bushnevich, Drouin, Eklund, Hurdle, whatever mix in the top 6 there. Ranta, Glassland on the third. Then Cunnin with some combination of Leo Carlson, Abramov, Bocage, Carlson on that fourth. Frederick Carlson on that fourth line. Part 2, the defense. Lindell has to walk as a cap casualty. A shame considering how long he's been with us, but it's time to rely on our prospects. Kiwi has to break the top 6 this year. We need to see what we have in him before committing long term. Love the growth from Brain and Lease. Hope they can keep it up with AHL playtime, right, EA? Who knows? Hughes, Kalinin, Rodin, Kiwi, Pickering, Kniazev for defense. Goaltending. Allmark has earned his place and does not appear to be too expensive. Keep him on a 2-year deal to mentor Hornquist in the NHL. I would like to put him on 2 years, but I'm going to keep him at 1 if we do end up re-signing him. I think solely because of Habsheed in the AHL, who's already at 77. Who knows, by the start of next season, he may already be an 80 in the AHL. I don't want to commit to Allmark for more than 1 season at this time. Free agency, we should look around mid-July for some potential veteran presences that can be added cheaply. Some veterans who want to make a last cup run and would mentor some of the young guys / eat fourth line minutes. Won't be sure until free agency comes, but always look for the value prospects. Absolutely. As always, Data, love the entertaining content and appreciate all your efforts. Go Sharks. JP, my friend, a lovely comment, and I saved it for last because I think it most encompasses my thoughts. As always, I do apologize if the comments go a bit longer in the off-season episodes. Some people love it, some people skip through it, but want to make sure that as many assistant general manager voices are heard. Also in the Discord server, some great content. Red Boy leaving another high-quality meme. GM Data to Linus Allmark after letting in an absolute muffin to lose the series for the team. Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. Adam Silver to Kyrie Irving. Off to Red Star in the KHL. All right. So all that being said, we have many contract thoughts. We're not going to make any at the decisions at the moment because I always want to wait till after the draft to get an actual view of what the contract demand will be. Like Chaz Lucius, there's no way he's asking for 8 years at $18 million after the draft. It'll probably come back down to earth. Still very expensive, but it will come back down to earth. So all that being said, I'm ready to hop into the draft right away. Nothing to wait for right now. Let's go ahead and do it. We have the 30th and 31st overall selections. The third overall pick is up for grabs. That's the only one within the top 10. We're not going to be making any trades at this point, so I'm ready to just sim at least for the first top 5. First overall pick is an 80 overall medium elite defensive defenseman, medium elite 79 overall center going to the Panthers, a high top 6, yikes. High top 6 going to the Jets, and then, ooh, that hurts. 78 overall medium elite goes right after that. 76 medium elite going after that. Anybody else in the 70s? Okay, back down to 66s. All right. Sad Cup. Like, we're already at medium top 6, 66 overall by pick 6. These are guys that you can find in the second round, you know? So, when it comes to our selection, down here at 27, we saw Reese. Was it Jameson Reese? Joel Reese from Poland, the Polish player out of the KHL, I suppose. 5 goals, 7 assists in 49 games played in an A+ league. A for shooting, A for puck skills, 1 year away, similar to Sean Monahan. I would like him solely because of the NHL ETA. If we do wait until 30, we could get these medium top 4 D-men, but I think we got to go offense. So Reese is interesting, as well as Marian Bicek, 5'8", 17-year-old, possibly a two-way forward. Took a lot of penalty minutes. A+ league, 4 years away. Yeah, he's going to be a project, but he does have low elite potential at 17 years of age, which is interesting. After that, it's more top 4 Ds. Lee Danner, Italiano, playing in the NLA, 3 years away from him as well. Like, there is no difference between Danner at 34 and the guy who just went at 6th, probably. We're talking all 66 overall, medium top 6 players. It's really impossible to know who's going to be better than who 5-10 years down the road. Marc Lefebvre, 4 years away. All these guys 4 years away. So I would not be opposed to trading up, let's say, from 30 to 28, 27 to get Reese, and then using the other first-round pick to trade down. With our second-round pick, we can take that player that we wanted, that medium elite guy. Maybe we go for Chung. Here's the one that the comment alluded to. At least having a gem makes me, but 20 years of age. Whoa, 40 goals, but in the E League, right, in the WHL. 40 goals, 88 points for Chung. Roger Chung. B shooting. 3 years away at 20 years of age. Yeah, okay, the 20 years of age is what kills it for me. High elite goalie is interesting, but I don't want to scam the league too much here. No one else really speaks to me. After that, we're at our next pick, and we get the medium elite guy who's going to be going at 65 or whatever. So maybe we can trade for our first-round pick next year. It's just not a strong draft. We'll see what team wants our first and go from there. So if we want to trade up for, let's say, whatever, 26, 27, do any of those teams want to trade their picks? They do not. Isn't he ranked 27? So we probably won't be there at 28. So I'm okay with trading to 25. Going from 30 to 25. Since Vancouver wants to trade their pick, it'll be easier to get that one. And we'll see what we can hammer out. Depends how much they want to trade it. Like, if I just give you a first and a fifth to move up 5 spots, okay, there we go. Trade accepted. So, thank you very much. We'll recoup some later picks plus picks next season with the trade that we'll make later on. So, at the 25th, with the 25th overall selection, we will head up to the podium. As we see, Reese is a center playmaker, 18 years of age. All those things are already looked at. I'm happy to see A shooting and A puck skills. It won't be 5 stars, but hopefully it should be good enough that it's maybe like all like 83-ish. So let's head up to the podium and make that selection. Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to the Dallas Stars on the Stanley Cup championship. With the 25th overall selection in the 2028 NHL entry draft, the San Jose Sharks are proud to select from Russia, Joel Reese. Welcome to the organization, Bello. You are 74 overall. Okay. 74, medium top 6, and even as an X factor. And okay, all 81s, 3-star shooting. I like it. 3-star puck skills. I like it. I like what I'm seeing. Relentless. Great off-balance shots and passes. Okay. Well-balanced player. I'm not seeing any major red flags. I like it. Joel Reese, welcome to the organization, my friend. Doesn't take anything major. And we can go ahead. I'm going to sim to pick 31. See who wants that pick. That makes the most sense to be at that pick and who wants that pick right now, knowing who's available. That's what makes the most sense, trading to a team that wants that pick right here, right now. Let's see. Earlier on in the first round, medium elite went, and then, yeah, yikes. Medium top 4D, okay, medium top 6-4. A few 70 overall guys. Mostly that mid-60, at 65, 66 overall range. Yeah, really weak draft class this year. Medium top 9 going at 24, a grinder. Medium top 9 there. Oh, yeah. All right, so I'll go ahead and take a couple timeouts and try to find the right trading partner. All right, so the Capitals want the 31st overall selection. They offered us a second and a fourth next season. I'm going to see if I can get a second and a third out of them. They're not a very good team, so this end of the first round first to get a hopefully start of the second round second next year. Add in a third, and hopefully it's a stronger draft class. What if I take out Lindell? Would you do it then? Isn't sufficient at all once again. All right, so all that was a waste of time. Second and a fourth. Trade accept. I'm happy to accept this proposal. Great. So the Capitals, with that 31st overall pick, let's see who they go ahead and select. And they take, drum roll please, medium top 4 defenseman. All right, that's actually not the worst pick. Agon, Joshua Agon, Agon, whatever you want to call him. Nothing to write home about, I wouldn't think, but he's a big boy, 18 years of age, has top 4 deep potential, better than the guy who just went before at top 6. So I think the Capitals will be happy with that selection. They're not the greatest team, but they wanted the pick, and they offered us the second and the fourth. Okay, so let's go ahead and sim all the way to pick number 62 now and take that medium elite player. He should still be there since he was slated to go at 65 or so. Anyone else interesting going at the end of that first round? 31st, it was another medium top 4D. Low elite, there was B-check, low elite, 61 overall. He has some zone ability plus 3 X factors. Wow, but a big project, a really big project. I don't know if that's what we would be looking to get. 61 overall at the age of 17. Not a bad overall for that age, just he really would be at least 4 years away. Not a lot of interesting pieces here going in the second round. We're already at a lot of medium top 9s and medium top 6D. So let's go ahead and make our pick at 62nd overall. This player's not going to be high in overall. I still think he's 4 or 5 years away. Watkins, there he is. Keegan Watkins from Rogel of the SHL. 5 years away, 17 years of age. So we're thinking 50-some overall, but medium elite and a gem. So hopefully he will be something good for us down the road. Keegan Watkins, welcome to the organization, Bello. You are a San Jose Shark, and you are 52 overall. Medium elite gem, we will take that gladly, no problem. A playmaker as well, everything 1 star or half star. It's going to be a long road for Keegan Watkins, but to not have to trade up to get him, to use a second round pick on it, to have that trade value, that's where it makes more sense. After that, our next pick's at 66, that's true. Before then, let's go ahead and try and just make an Esa Lindell trade, since it doesn't seem like we'll be making a deal with him as a part of anything. Let's just try and make a deal solo. Moving a guy like Larry Tongue or Philip Bystead is still something that I would consider, but probably closer to either on July 1st at the very earliest or right before the preseason. I wouldn't want to do that at this very moment when I'm still not sure on what's happening money-wise. So Esa Lindell, if I offer your rights, any teams in NHL interested? Yeah, all right. We got the Bruins and the Lightning. Let's try and send him to the Bruins, but instead of taking Keegan Kolesar, can I get a draft pick? Can we go 7th, or would we not even be able to get that? That's why you're offering me Kolesar. 7th, pick number 208, rejected. 217, what do you say to this one? Rejected. All right, you know what? Maybe I will take Keegan Kolesar. Maybe he can be a good 4th liner for us. Where are you? There you are. Keegan Kolesar, 79 overall, 31 years of age. Is he listed as a grinder? Yeah, he is. 4.5-star physical. You know what? I don't even know if he'll stay, but if he would take like 800K, he would be a decent 4th liner for us. So we know that that Lindell is walking, so we may as well try and get something, even if it doesn't work out. We believe this transaction will contribute to our success here in Boston, so we are accepting your trade offer. Thank you, Esa Lindell, for all of your time here in San Jose. We got you your Stanley Cup ring. You came as a rental. You stayed for 3 more years after that. It has been an absolute joy and pleasure having you, and we wish you all the best in your final years in Boston. So the Lightning go ahead and take a top 4D. The Stars take we don't know who. And then the Coyotes take a low top 6 forward. At 66th overall at the start of the third round, we could go low top 6 forward. There's a lot of low top 6, even medium top 6 there. Jyrki Pirjeta, a grinder. We don't need that. Tyson Jacobs, 4 years away. But I think it's got to be this guy. Nathaniel Redenbach. Even though he's 20 years of age, he is 3 years away. You don't want to see 5 years away on a guy who's 20. 3 years away, and he has medium top 6. It's not the worst. I wouldn't mind that. Bedrick Pock, 4 years away at 7. Like, what do you want? Do you want... sorry, that was a defenseman. I'm looking at... I want to see Connor Postma. 3 years away at 18. 3 years away at 18 versus 3 years away at 20. Low top 6 versus medium top 6, but younger. Oh, man, that's a tough one, eh? And Jacobs was 4 years away. Even Sloan. Shout out to Vince Sloan from the Seattle Kraken franchise mode, as well as shout out to Luther Sloan. If you know, you know. That's a tough one. Redenbach or what's his name? Postma. At least for Postma, we can send him back to the to the juniors. Redenbach would have to be an AHLer for us. We have to sign him to his ELC already. But our scouts do have Redenbach at 68. I don't see it as a situation where we could lose, really. I think either decision would be good. Anyone below Postma who's interesting? No. There's a lot of low top 4D in this draft. All right, let's do it. Let's go for Redenbach. Our scouts have him higher. Our scouts have him at 68. We're at 66. Nathaniel from the Victoriaville Tigers, the Tigres. 62 overall, medium top 6. He'll likely be in the AHL like right away. Power forward. Okay. Now I'll be curious to see, though, what was... so Jacobs was low top 6, 61. Pirjeta, low top 6, 61. Scrivens, medium top 9. And Ekblad's other low top 4. I want to see... Where are you? Postma. 62 overall, low top 6. So same overall, lower potential, and younger. Also a power forward. Maybe I lean Postma, but again, I think it was just a flip of a coin there. Our next pick is at pick number 126. Anyone between now and then? A lot of low top 4Ds, a lot out there. High starter, medium top 9. No. Low top 6 forward. Saw this guy. Who's this? Suster? Let me see this. 19 years of age from Extraliga. 3 years away, Dominic Suster. And is anyone interesting at our pick there in the 130s? We passed it by now. What am I doing? But there's also Franklin Dimitrakos at the medium top 4D, going at like 150. So, you know what? Let's just go to 126. I'm okay with it. If we miss a few low top 6 forwards or low top 4D, it's not the end of the world. I would probably be trading down anyways. And we don't really have the capital to want to trade up just to take one guy. How about this guy? Petri Lidman, whatever you want to say, 5 years away, but low top 6 potential. Anyone between now and our next pick? It would be Franklin Dimitrakos. Our next pick after this one, when is it? No, this is our last pick. So you know what? I would much rather just take Dimitrakos, who is a guaranteed medium top 4D at 126. That's great value. Sorting by potential. Anyone out there who we'd be missing out on? No, just some 2-bar, 1-bar elite guys. Ooh, some guaranteed low elites. Oh my goodness, there are 4 guaranteed low elites. I don't want to cheese the system too much, and we already have a grinder in Eugene Riley, so maybe we pass on Gustav Galiev, the Ukrainian grinder. But Alexander Vishnevsky, 6'2" offensive defenseman. Nico Haikila, 2-way forward. Matthias Helmerson, 4 years away. Oh man, there's some tempting guys there, but we definitely got to go for the top 4D at this point. But maybe we can facilitate some trades. Even still some low top 6s here. Johnny Westgarth. What a name. Isaac Nieuwendyk. Man, I would take a lot of guys, I'd take a lot more chances on a lot more guys if we had the picks, but it wouldn't make sense to trade for like 8 7th round picks. So Franklin Dimitrakos, welcome to the team. Medium top 4, even if he's a 48 overall, to get that potential at this point, I will absolutely accept that. 2-way D. I'm going to sim towards the end of the draft and see if we can pick up some more picks, though. All right, so the Rangers have 3 7th-round picks. So let's see if I can just trade them a couple of expiring contracts we won't be taking back. Eddie Street does have low top 9 potential. We gave him some time in the AHL. Former 3rd-round pick. You know, maybe I want to keep this guy. I like that shooting stat. So maybe I want to keep Eddie Street. I'll give you Zach Litany, a guy that we got in a trade just as a body, as a contract at the deadline last year. And I'll throw in, oh man, what's it going to cost here? Can I give you just a 7th in 2030? A 7th next year with Zach Litany for 2 7ths now? Come on. Just 2 7ths then. Fine. All right. 2 7ths for 2 7ths. And I throw you in Zach Litany just to make it work because I don't think it was working. And you know what? It's not just 2 7ths for 2 7ths. It's 2 7ths in exchange for 2 low elite prospects. So with our first selection in the 7th round, we're going to take Alexander Vishnevsky, the offensive defenseman, 6'2", 18-year-old. There we go. Let's see what we get from him. Definitely low overalls, but I love the potential here. 48 overall for Vishnevsky. And then at pick number 209, we'll take the next guy, but just want to quickly see his stats. Nothing standing out, no problem. And with the other selection at 209, we will take Nico Haikila. Galiev and Helmerson are both tempting, but Galiev as a grinder and Helmerson as 19 years of age. Let's go with Nico Haikila. He's 18. They're all low elite. They're all low in overall. Let's just do it. The Finn from the SHL, I believe. 50 overall, low elite, 2-way forward. There we go. Nothing standing out. No problem. Throw him in the system and see what happens. You never know which one of these guys might grow into something special someday. So the draft wasn't anything too crazy. I think it was a solid draft for what we were dealing with, for the class that we had and the picks that we had. Reese was a nice one. Watkins was great. Redenbach, so-so. Dimitrakos, great value. And Vishnevsky and Haikila, low elite. Hey, not a bad draft. So now I'll go ahead and do all the usual off-screen stuff. We're going to re-sign the scouts, re-sign any coaches, expiring deals, all that. Yeah, a bunch of expiring scouts right there. No coaches, I don't think, expiring. So I'll take care of that, and then we'll jump into the re-sign phase. Alright, so all the scouts are signed back on. Now it's time to head into the contract screen and see what kind of extensions our players are looking for now that numbers are actually going to be realistic. They could still be expensive, but they will be actual representations of what they're looking for. So Chaz Lucius wanted 8 years at $18 million. Now he's willing to take, there we go, 7 by 11.3, 11.5 for 8. It's pretty much the same between 1 and 8 years. If we go up to 7 years, it's 11.3, no matter if it's either 2 or 7. That's good. If we jump to 8, it's 11.5. Now, here's the thing. In 8 years, Chaz Lucius will be 33. However, if we sign him for 7 years and bring him to 32, and we want to keep him for 2 or 3 more years, he's going to be costing maybe even more than this right now. So to pay an extra, whatever, couple $100,000 to get him for an extra year to the age of 33, I do think that's worth it. 85% is $9.83 million. I might just be looking to offer 8 by 10. 8 years, $80 million for Chaz Lucius, who's been a huge piece of this team. I think this is a very fair deal for him as well. He would be one of the highest paid, probably I think the second highest paid player on the team after Quinn Hughes. So 8 years, $80 million on Chaz Lucius. Let's see if he likes that deal. We'll send it out. That brings our available cap space down to $15 million if he does sign. If he does sign, Jonathan Drouin, who was previously making $4.4 million, would now want $10.175 on a 1-year deal. 85% is 8.65, but I don't want to go 85% on Drouin. He would, if he's going to be re-signing with us, it would have to really be worth his while, because if not, he can go to free agency and try to get $8-9 million for 3 or 4 seasons, as opposed to 1 year of 8.6. So if we go 1 year, it's probably at least 9 or 10 million. So we'll have to wait and see what the money says on him. Luke Cunnin, 1 year, 1.65. I would probably say we walk on him. Evgeny Malkin, it would be great to have him back, but we're not spending $6 million with a guy with on a guy with AHL top 6 potential. So thank you for your time here. Best of luck. Bjorn Fott, you can't come back at 7th D for $2 million, so we'll have to let him walk as well. He was a great piece for us. He was just a random free agent signing. He ended up being full-time 7th D. He got a Stanley Cup ring. He played 53 games with us over 2 seasons in the NHL, 12 points plus 14. I'm very content with him, so thank you for your service here, my friend. Colton Sissons was a nice 4th-line piece for us, but a bit costly at the age of 34. There are guys who are in that same range for cheaper, so we'll have to let him walk as well. Our 2 free deadline pickups in Malkin and Sissons, they will both walk. Keegan Kolesar, who we got at the draft, what kind of contract would he want? Oof, 1.85. Get it down a bit cheaper for 1 year. That's tough. That would be a bit tough. We'll get to that in a second. Let's just do the rest of the UFAs here first. Usually I do this on my own, but there's a few guys I just want to show you. Ricky Brain, Lowry, Wah, they're all going to get their contracts. RFAs now. Leo Carlson is someone we want to offer contract to. Hopefully our future fourth-line centerman. A 1-year deal keeps him as an RFA, so I think that's what makes the most sense as opposed to trying to cheese it for 8 years at $1 million or whatever. 85% is 1.02, so we do want 1.05 million for a 1-year prove-it-to-me fourth-line deal. Let's see what Leo Carlson says to that. Aside from that, Bocage, maybe we bring him back. Larry Tongue, what do you want, buddy? Larry could go 2 years of RFA. The game doesn't think he'll grow much. 1.9 for 8 years. 2 years at 1.625. I still have some hope for him, but not that he'll be like a top 6 forward. We could probably go 1 point. He wants 1.3 at 1.4 million for 2 years on Larry Tongue. We could probably do that. But he is an RFA, so you know what? Maybe I'll just qualify him, and we'll wait until his demand comes down even a little bit more. He should not be asking for much. 78 overall at 22 years of age, 25 points in 82 games, 15 goals. Yeah, okay, I see it. But I want to get him maybe closer down to like 1.25. Everything counts here when we're so tight. Most of the other guys are going to walk. I'll take care of that off screen. Unsigned, we can go ahead and offer Samu Ranta his entry-level contract right away here. He'll sign on. Reese, who we just drafted, Joel Reese. The AHL is like a pit when it comes to player growth, but would it be better to bring him over, get some X factors in the AHL? That's a tough call. The AHL is just a pit though, and he has 2 years. I let him stay overseas unless we see that the AHL team really needs somebody in there. Habsheed, we can also sign him to his entry-level contract. There we go, 77 at 19 years of age. So the AHL will be Habsheed backed up by Foy, with the NHL being a mix, I think, of Allmark Hornquist with Lindbergh being third goalie. We'll see if Allmark wants to sign back on, though. He now wants 1 year, 2.175. He deserves his money, but he is 34 years of age, and he knows that he's going more into a backup, at least sharing the crease type of role. 85% is 1.85. I don't want to go all the way down to there. Let's just do a 1 year, 2 million thing on Allmark. I think that's fair. Plus, keeps us in a good spot. So I'll take care of a few things off screen. The biggest thing we want to figure out is Jonathan Drouin. He does want to extend, so that also adds to the storyline. He would be willing in his AI brain to say, I want to stay on this team. I'm not necessarily wanting to test free agency. So I'll take care of some stuff off screen, and then we'll advance a day. All right, advancing forward now, let's see if we can figure out a few things by some players signing on. Chaz Lucius, although I'm interested in principle, I'm going to reject this offer at this dollar value. If you're going to change the duration of my renewal, I expect you to adjust the financials accordingly. Didn't change that much. Allmark, same thing, rejecting because he's clear on how long he wanted. He wanted a 2-year deal. Boldzuk, we brought him back. A lot of the other 77, 78 overall AHL guys we didn't bring back because they wanted 1.2 million. Leo Carlson wants to test free agency after we saved him from the pits of rejection. Most of the other guys, yeah, so we didn't learn too much there, unfortunately. All expiring, we're still with most of the same guys expiring. So let's try again on Lucius. 8 years at 10.25 is going to be my final offer, actually, because worst case, I'm just going to qualify him and do it on July 1st, because it's an unfortunate joke that if it's before July 1st, they don't want to do it, but then as soon as the clock strikes 12 on midnight for July 1st, then they're willing to do it. So I'm going to just try to give him the benefit of the doubt. 10.25 for 8 years. If he still says, oh, ridiculous offer, then we'll say, all right, salut la visite. Luke Cunnin, still haven't decided on him just yet. Leo Carlson, come on, buddy. I'm trying to save your career here. Giving you a 1-year deal at 1.1 million. A few extra $1,000, buy yourself a nice car. Aside from that, nothing else that we had sent out. So let's advance a day. Come on, Chaz. It was even Linus Allmark. And now all the scouts are going to sign on. And same thing. You're going to change the blah, blah, blah. And Leo Carlson, easy decision. All right, at least there's that. Lucius, qualify, see you later. And that means for Jonathan Drouin, at the very least, it's going to be sign and trade for Drouin. So we're going to go ahead and offer him an extension of I'd want to go 2, but we can't. We got to go 1 year, 10 million, I think. 1 year, 10 million on Drouin to make it worth his while. Instead of going 2 or 3 years of 8 million somewhere else, he takes 1 year, 10 million to stay in San Jose, a team that he wants to stay with, a team that he's just scored 46 goals on, and we try to run it back and win another Stanley Cup. Drouin, 1 year, 10 million, more than it would probably take for us to get him, but trying to do right by him and stay according to realism. Drouin, 1 year, 10 million. Let's see what he says. And then hold on, we also got to check out Linus Ullmark before we get too late on him. He didn't want to do 2 years at 1 year at 2 million. So let's just try 1 year at 2.1. Let's see if he'll accept that, or if we have to really go up to the 2.175. More scouts signing back. Thank you very much. And let's... Okay, there it is. Easy decision from Linus Ullmark. The extra 100,000 was the deal breaker. Thank you very much. Jonathan Drouin, easy decision. All right. I've always wanted to play with a top-ranked team, so it was an easy decision to stick with the organization. We saved him from Montreal. We gave him a chance in free agency when no one else would. Here's 10 million smackaroonies. It's not like he's doing any charity to stay here, but a 1 year deal. Let's run it back. No guarantee he stays, but at the very least, we have him signed back on as the contingency plan. That leaves us with 14.685 million with Drouin and Ullmark signed up. I think this works. Lucius will wait on him. Luke Cunnin, he's been a good trooper here for the organization. If he wants 85%, I'm down. 1.425 for 1 year. If he wants to go 85% for 1 year, 1.425 million, I'm okay with that. If he wants more, we're going to go with Keegan Kolesar, I think. If Cunnin signs, we'll let Kolesar walk most likely. Aside from that, some of these AHL guys like Gushin, Bocage, I'll have to give it some more thought. I got to really evaluate what we have in the prospects and what our AHL team would look like. It's too bad we can't look at the lines in the offseason. So let me take a second to kind of reevaluate that in my mind. All right, ready to advance a day now. For the forwards, I really do think that it just comes down to Cunnin versus Kolesar. So he's not going to be interested. So Cunnin, I'm not going to release him just yet, but let's see what Kolesar says to a deal. A couple of AHL guys signing on. Very good. So it's going to come down to that pretty much. For the rest of those 3 RFAs are going to get qualified. We'll see what happens with them. Keegan Kolesar, would you want a 1 year deal? I'm not sure, but at the very least, I'm going to let the stars decide, I guess. 1 year, 1.572. So 1.575 for 1 year on Kolesar. If he says no, I'm going to release him and then just give Cunnin a little bit more money. I think that's what we're going to do. Not interested. Okay, so did my best. I tried what I could. Kolesar is going to get released, and Cunnin will try to extend him. He'll be a little cheaper at the very least than Kolesar would. Instead of 1.425, let's go 1 year, 1.5 on Cunnin. We have the money for an 81 overall. This is what an 81 overall is worth in 2028. Come on, big boy. This is the last day of free agency. That's it, of contracts, I mean. So if he doesn't sign this, that's it for him. UFAs are taken care of. RFAs are qualified, unsigned. Reese is attempting one, but at least we're going to leave him because I forgot that he's still in the juniors. So let's advance the final day into free agency. Easy decision from Luke Cunnin. All right, he is on board. Thank you very much. Now that it's July 1st, I'm just curious. The first thing I want to see is what does Chaz Lucius's ask become? Let's see. Chaz, now he wants pretty much the same thing. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. So I'll wait a week or two for it to just slightly come down, and then we'll just offer 85%. Or actually, I could do it now. 85% of 11.7 is 9.945. So 8 years, 80 million, the original deal that we wanted to give him. That should go through now that it's July 1st. So 8 by 10 for Chaz Lucius. We'll see what he says. That would still leave us with 4.16 million. Larry Tanguay might take a little bit of that. I'm going to, actually 1 year. Or to go 2 years. But I don't know, if he has another 15-goal season, maybe then he grows a little bit, he wants more. It might be worth it to go 2 years, but wait until we can get him for like 1.2. Yeah, let's wait a little bit on Larry Tanguay. And straight, does he still want 1.2 million? Yeah, so we'll wait on him. Actually, 1 year, 0.8 now. But I prefer to go 2. That's so weird. 3 years, all the way to 8 years, 0.8. But if he wants 2 years, it has to be 1.2 million. So forget it. 1 year, 1 year, 2-way, and I'll give you 900K. There you go, big boy. So as we wait for Lucius, I will assume that he is signing on, whether it's at that dollar value or not. He's coming back next season. So the forwards at this point, and by the way, we can offer extensions to Bushnevich, Glass, Lind now. We're open to doing that. He would want 11, 10 million. Bushnevich would for a few years. Cody Glass at an 86. He'd be wanting, ooh, that's not the worst deal. We have 36.5 million in extension dollars, but we have a lot of players to re-sign. Cole Lind would be wanting a very reasonable 3.9 million for 3 years, about what he's making now. And over on defense, we would have Kivi Haryu, who as of now, he's already up to an 80 overall. 8 years, 6.5, no. But we could go 2 years, 2 million relatively soon. That would actually be a good idea. 2 years, 2 million as he's joining the NHL before he's even proven himself. Have a solid couple seasons. Then as an RFA, we try to see what we can get him for. So 2 years, 2 million on Aaron Kiviharju. I think that's a very fair deal. He's now an 80 overall. You're going to have to take a couple days to mull this over. Very good. And Boris Kalinin would be wanting 6.774. We could go 8 years now, but after just 1 year, I'm not sure if he'd want to lock himself in for like an 8x7 when he thinks he could get more. But I'll wait and see what the assistant general managers have to say about that one. So Kiviharju, quick extension sent out to him. Back to the forwards now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then add 12 for Chaz Lucius. This is our top 12 right here. Maybe you swap out Bocage with Carlson. Yeah, I would like to do that. Bocage becomes 13th forward, and then you have the AHL after that in the system. Even Larry Tongue 13th forward even, but and then Bocage down in the AHL. If we go down to defensemen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Samuel Bolduc could be 7th D, and then in the system, 1, 2, 3, yeah, we need to sign some defensemen down in the AHL. All right, so some AHL defense, maybe even a 7th D for the NHL. Goaltending's good, forwards seem to be okay, and that's about it headed into free agency. So I'll see if there's any new scouts to sign on, and we'll also try to send a contract to Joe Pavelski. We can even do that right now to get him as our AHL assistant coach. That would be the ideal scenario, so let's go and find him. There he is. He wants to be an NHL associate coach. Oh, but he's not ready. Come on, you're only a B-. Okay, so I have to play some musical chairs. I'm going to have to assign him to be an NHL coach, but I'm going to demote him to be like an AHL associate coach. We have to play some musical chairs, but we'll send a contract to Joe Pavelski, look if there's any new scouts to sign on, and then we can jump into free agency. Okay, now let's do it. Free agency, July 1st of 2028. Let's see who's available. Ferriero made it to free agency, a restricted free agent, but still, wow. Even Dykus, high franchise. All right, let's just sort by the UFAs out here. There's a lot of tempting RFAs, but just the UFAs. We see Nikita Kucherov wanting a 1-year deal, only at 8.725 at 35 years of age. What did he do last season? I remember he was looking for a 1-year deal last year. 36 goals, 33 assists. Rasmus Dahlin, Brady Tkachuk, wow. Only wanting 8.5 at 28 years of age. Brady Tkachuk, Gabe Vilardi, Christian Dvorak. Pretty cheap deal for him as well. Joel Farabee, but unfortunately not what we're looking for right now. Goaltenders, just out of curiosity, Spencer Knight at an 89 overall, Ukko Pekka-Luukkonen at an 86. All right. So remember, we said we wanted, our first priority is getting a 7th defenseman. So probably someone who would be asking for less than what these guys are asking for. Probably around this range, like a Siegenthaler, who's looking at 1.1 million. Defensive defenseman. Didn't play last season, so that's why he wants the deal he's looking for, but wants 2 years. Would there be a 1-year guy who wants cheaper? Bjorn Fott wanting 2.125. Not really, actually. Down to a 79 if you want to do that. So let's go for Siegenthaler. Let's see if we can get him on the 1 year. I'd be curious to see what his demand goes to, but 2 years wouldn't be the worst either. 1 year wants 1.2. But 2 years is not horrible for an 80 overall. It's just that I'm hesitant with other defensemen trying to grow as well. Let's do it. Let's do 1 year, and let's even give him a little bit more. We have the salary space to do it. Let's do 1 year at 1.25 for Siegenthaler, and he will be our 7th defenseman if he signs, and he might be here longer than the 1 year. So 1 year at 1.25 for him. I'm going to look for, also we want to look at potential, players with high potential for the AHL. Like Carson Lambos we had, but now he wants 1.2 million. Not happening. This guy Mazden Leslie, 3rd round pick in 2023 with crazy slap shot and wrist shot power. I'm not quite certain on him. But we can find some guys here like Bong, Toskala. We'll find some players for the AHL. I can do that off screen once again. And of course, looking for the forwards down in the AHL, we could use some players down there as well. A couple of low elite guys. This guy Simmons, this guy Mikola, Kari Mikola. That's true, we had. Yeah, there he is. Kari Mikkola, former 5th-round pick in 2026. Here he is in free agency. What a guy. I mean, it would make sense to sign him. Like, let's bring him back, I suppose. Kari Mikkola. Where he got traded, I guess, eh? We never even got him signed. 46 points in 57 games. I'm not sure what happened to him. If he was drafted in 2026, I guess we traded him, and the team we traded him to let him walk. He has really low skating, but everything else is really good. 5-star physical, 6'5" power forward. Yeah, Kari Mikkola, welcome back to the fold, buddy. Let's get you in here. 3 years, $1 million entry-level deal. Okay, I think that's just about it. Semenov, medium top 6. Victor Semenov, two-way forward. Tempting, but does want 1.2 million. But he's one of those guys that for 1 year, there you go. He'll take 800K. So let me try 1 year, two-way, 1 million, max two-way deal. If he wants that, that would be cool. Worst case, whatever. And I think that's about it. We'll let everyone else... Yeah, there's some other guys who are a bit older, lower overalls. But we'll figure it out. If we need more people for the AHL, we can take care of it at the beginning of the preseason. So that's about it. We need Lucius to re-sign. We got 7th defenseman. I'm going to dive back in to see if I can get some defensemen for the AHL. But nothing else to do here in free agency. Still some trade possibilities. But for right now, that's the only thing that we have left to do. All right, so advancing a few days now, we got to see that we have one scout that we sent a contract to. We have Joe Pavelski joining the AHL coaching staff that we want to see. I was going to accept your offer, but the role's already filled. But what are you saying? That maybe I offered him associate instead of assistant? Let me go back in and take care of that. Yeah, I left the assistant coach spot open. I guess maybe I offered him associate by accident. Let's keep going here. Where'd you go, Joe? Here you are. Even TJ Oshie, a lot of players who are out here, former players. I guess that must have been it. NHL associate was what I must have offered him. So NHL assistant and give him like 1.25 million a year. There we go. And then we will immediately demote him to the AHL. And then once he proves himself and grows an overall, once we have our A-rated staff expiring in the next few years, then he can come up to the NHL. All right, advancing a few days now. Let's see. I want to thank you for the kind offer. It was a fair proposal, but I've decided to sign elsewhere. That's a joke. Here's 8 years at 1.2 million. You want 900K or whatever. I decided to sign elsewhere, and you can't poach a coach from another team. So, Joe, wasn't meant to be, I suppose. Bye-bye. Thank you for your disrespect to this organization. Siegenthaler is in as 7th D. Very nice. Zelger is going to be in the AHL. Kivi Haru extends 2 years at 2 million. Eddie Street extends, and Semenov is in. That's great. Mikola's on board. Great. Everyone we wanted is here. Waiting on Chaz, who rejects the offer, and he is disgusted. Why would he consider signing with our team with such a disrespectful offer? Well, guess who's back with the exact same offer a few days later, because I'm sure his demand has gone down. Yeah, now he wants 7... Actually, his 8-year demand is still at the same, so... I'll go 10.05, but I'm not gonna kill myself to try and get to his demand when I'm giving him a fair deal. Tanguay, have you come back down to earth? Still no, eh? Not actually, yes, he has. That's true. At 2 years, he wanted 1.7. So 2 years at 1.05. Let's see if he likes that. For the coaching staff, we can undo the musical chairs that we did. So the assistant goes back to assistant, the goalie goes back to goalie, and the AHL staff stays as it is. I guess we could add an AHL assistant. Actually, I just noticed that Joe Pavelski is still in the free agent pool. I was going to go find a new AHL associate, but he's still out here. So 8 years, give him the max deal, 1.76 million to be NHL assistant. But we know that he's going to play musical chairs after. So we're messing up morale a little bit with the promotions and the demotions. This guy goes back to AHL assistant. This guy goes back to NHL goalie. So their chemistry, their morale and staff chemistry continues to drop as a result, which is annoying. So Joe, buddy, you better sign that contract. Lucius, waiting on you as well. Let's go. Chaz and Joe, waiting on you too. Lindbergh and a 3rd for a 6th and a 7th. Why in the world would I do that? That's one of the worst offers I've ever seen. Yeah, I'm hearing your staff chemistry is low. I was going to say no, but I want it to be a solution. I accept. Well, I guess he didn't actually sign on with another team then, because I saw that his name, there was no team behind his name when he said he rejected, so I found that odd. So Joe Pavelski, welcome to the organization, buddy. You are demoted. Let's get Aubrey back to NHL assistant. Okposo to NHL goalie. Simard can be demoted to AHL assistant. Pavelski can be AHL associate, and there you go. The NHL staff still has 5 more years to go. Our whole staff is signed on pretty well, so we'll see what happens over the years. I'm sure Pavelski will become AHL head coach soon enough, and then he'll be in the NHL staff. Probably when we do our big simulation to year 25, he'll be our head coach someday. That would be great. That would be the ideal scenario, but I'm not sure how his fit would be as NHL head coach. Larry Tongue, extremely happy to accept the offer. I appreciate the fact that you offered me the exact length. Perfect. Chaz, buddy, let's go get that disrespectful attitude out of here. Sign on that dotted line. Now for 8 years, he wants 11.625. Come on, buddy. I guess we'll go up a little bit. Let's throw him a bone. 10.350 for 8 years. Come on. I don't want to wait too long, because if you wait until like the last few days of July, then he says, okay, I only want a 1-year deal, and then he's back to wanting 8 years, 18 million. So come on, Chaz. I'm trying to find a solution here with you, buddy. You're killing me, taking 4 days to decide each time. Come on. Another rejection. We can't play games for too long here, because after maybe a couple more offers, he's going to go to a certain point where he'll want like 9 million for 1 year, but then anything 2 to 8 years, he'll want like 15 million. So come on. 8 years. You're killing me here. I know you're worth it. Let's just get it over with. 10.75 for 8 years. If you don't want that, then we'll have bigger issues. But I know he's worth it. I know he's great. I know he'll continue to perform. But we have a lot of young players that we got to save money for. So an extra $750K per season, that hurts. Come on, Chaz. My voice is also taking a beating. There was a little pause in between the last couple scenes because I had to do the 2 hours of Timo Meier getting traded, and we still don't know what he's traded for as of this point when I'm recording. Still rejected the offer. Great. Now we're at July 21st. This is definitely the last offer before he'll go to that point. I guess we're at 11 million now at this point. For 8 years, he wants 11.45 now. 8 by 11, fine. I was going to give you $80 million. Here is $88 million. 8 by 11 for Chaz Lucius. Crazy weekend here. The Dadonov trade, the Barbashev trade, the Meier trade that we still don't know what he's going for after 2 hours of streaming. My voice has really been taking a beating. Come on. Here we go. July 25th. Can we get an answer for Chaz Lucius? Takes him 6 days to answer. There we go. I believe the signing will be good for myself and the franchise. Great. Thank you so much, Chaz. Only took like 3 weeks to hammer this out. 8 years, $88 million on Chaz Lucius. Where does that put us now contractually? We have $3.785 million in cap space. In terms of next year's extensions, we will have $25.26 to play with. And the expiring players are Bushnevich, Drouin, Glass, Kalinin, Lind. Yeah, it's going to be a bit dicey out there, but we will do what we can. With all that taken care of now, we can finally just end off the offseason by seeing what our draft classes will be for the next season. As always, we'll randomize a number between 1 and 100 to see what our draft class quality and generated prospect quality will be. Last year, we had a low-medium draft. So generating a number here between 1 and 100. 1 to 30 is low, then 30 to 70 is medium, and 70 to 100 is high. So generating the number now, we get 63 for draft class quality, so it'll be a medium draft class quality, with the generated prospect quality being medium as well, as we get 76. So what am I saying? What is wrong with me? I just said 70 to 100 is high, and we get 76 and I say medium. So after a low medium draft class, we will now be having a medium high draft class. So medium draft class quality with high generated prospect quality. In a year last season where we had like an 80 overall medium elite go first, maybe we get a franchise player in the 2029 draft. Just goes to show how fried my brain is after all this Timo Meier stuff in the real world. But we are all signed up. It looks like at this point, Jonathan Drouin will be coming back. Well, we'll see what kind of growth we get here in the offseason. Does Ranta jump up to like an 87 to start next season? There's a lot of questions still to be answered. So we'll go ahead and simulate through the summer and get to the beginning of the preseason, where we'll see what team is waiting for us for 2028-29. So here we are for the beginning of 2028-29. Let's break it all down. Chaz Lucius, Connor Bedard, and Pavel Bushnevich, the top line with a +5, 89, 91, and 87 overall respectively. That +5 looking amazing. Second line, Eklund, Hurdle, and Drouin, 87, 86, 87 respectively, with a +5 of their own. The top 6 remains unchanged. Now, on the third line, we have Samu Ranta, who's now at an 84 overall at the age of 19. 5-star shooting, 3.5-star puck skills, everything looking great, and he has a great line fit pretty much throughout the entire lineup, so that's very good news. First year of his 3-year ELC. Cody Glass, 86 overall centerman with Cole Lynn at an 85 on the right. Fourth line, very interchangeable. We'll get to the extra forwards in a moment. Currently looking like Tanguay, Bystedt, and Cunnin. Bystedt down to a 79 overall. I could very easily see us trading Bystedt and Tanguay and getting Leo Carlson, as well as even Eugene Riley into the lineup. 278 overalls, who do have some X factors. Riley as a grinder on that fourth line would probably be a decent fit, even though his line fit's not great. And Carlson, he's the opposite. He is not a grinder, but he has great line for chemistry. So that wouldn't be a bad idea either. We'll consider that. Over on defense, good growth this offseason as Boris Kleenan is up to an 86 and Aaron Kiviharju is up to an 82. Very good news. Hughes and Kleenan with the +5 on the first pair. Rodin and Kiviharju on the second pair with a +1. For some reason, Rodin down from an 85 to an 84. Don't really care. And on the third pair, Kniazev and Pickering with their +1. They are a great third pairing that always seem to perform well together. Goaltending, Torsten Hornquist has grown to an 82 overall and will likely be our starter, but Linus Ullmark is still around as an 81. He's 35 years of age. He simulates very well. He will technically be backup, but we'll see what happens in the preseason at the start of the year and whether or not Hornquist is ready to take on that role. 7th D, as we mentioned earlier, Siegenthaler now down to a 79 for some reason. I'm not sure what happened this offseason. People dropping an overall for no reason. Down in the AHL, I didn't do these lines really just yet. You see Semenov at a 79. He could be an NHLer, two-way forward with good defensive attributes. Medium top 6 potential as well. Frederick Carlson, who has low top 6 potential. He is... I don't think he's quite NHL ready just yet, but he's getting towards the cusp of things. As a 75, it's a bit too low. And Kari Mikkola, who we got back in the system, he's a 78. He's grown now at 20 years of age as low elite, so that's nice. Aside from that, Whitney, Lowry, Brian Wow, whatever you want to call him. I don't want to call him Wow because it sounds like R-O-Y. But Brian, he's down on the fourth line, medium elite potential. We want to get him higher in the lineup. Defense, not really anyone here. Actually, Ricky Brain. Yeah, Ricky Brain, medium elite, 76 now. We'll get him on the top pair. There's also Jaden James, a former first-round pick in 2025, who's been growing slowly, steadily, but slowly. I'll have to sign in their defenseman as well. It's down, this guy, Vince Mester, at a 57. Goaltending, Don Habschi's up to a 79 overall at the age of 20. He would be wanting some NHL action himself, as he is now listed as a backup goalie with medium elite potential. And Jesus Foy backs him up as a 75 at 21 years of age. He would be close to the NHL himself in a year, probably. So the goaltending situation is looking pretty solid. Healthy scratches. Philip Lindbergh, he will be in the NHL as third goalie whenever we figure out who of those forwards are getting pushed out. But there is the lineup at the moment. What should we experiment with in the preseason? What would you need to decide who stays and who goes? Between, Cunnin would likely stay. I think of those two spots, you have Bystedt, Tanguay, Riley, and Carlson kind of fighting for it. 4 guys fighting for 2 spots. That's how I see it. So what would you need to see from those players for them to convince you that they should stay on the fourth line? We need to be strong in that fourth line role. We can't be having negative 10s and 20s out there. Samu Ranta, he'll get his special teams time and all that, but I think the team can stay as it is. Jonathan Drouin on his 1-year, $10 million deal. I think it made sense to keep him, and eventually when Ranta goes up, he has a good fit in the lineup there as well. So I think for now, this team makes sense. We're ready to run it back. We are hungry. We have had good growth. Kiviharju and Kalinin. It's going to be great. Now, at the beginning of the preseason, we have those questions to think about, and we can also consider 2 last things to end off the episode. Number 1, the contract extensions, as I mentioned previously. Consider, do we want to send some of those out now? A guy like Pavel Buchnevich, do we want to even be keeping him beyond this year? Maybe he's asking for a bit too much at this age. Are we moving on from him after this season? Cody Glass, he's down to an 86. Could we get him to stay as our full-time third-line centerman, but now maybe that's costing too much? Are we moving on from Hurdle very soon, and maybe he slots up? There's a few ways to look at it. Boris Kalinin, who's up to an 86 now, do we try to sign him and lock him down to an 8 by 7.5, something like around that? A few things to consider with just over $25 million in extension remaining. Cole Lynn probably, I don't know, we could get Cole Lynn extended for pretty cheap. Yeah, a few things we gotta think about. And the other thing, most importantly to think about headed into next episode, any potential trades, especially if we were to be moving Larry Tanguay and or Philip Bystedt, the value that they have, as we see the value on our team as well. Anyone else who jumps out? Ricky Brain has a lot of potential. Watkins, Lees, yeah. Larry Tanguay has a fair bit of trade value, as much as Riley, who's 2 years younger. Reese, Carlson, Lind, where is Bystedt? There he is. So Bystedt and Tanguay together could get a pretty solid package. We could just move to try and get a pick, but we could also look at any prospects who are available. So keep your eyes peeled, as well as any other roster players you might want to think about for deeper in the season. Maybe not right now, but later on. So starting on the Anaheim Ducks, we see Maxime Comtois on the block. Expiring deal as an 81 overall. Good. And Blankenberg. Arizona Coyotes, Rem Pitlick. Boston, Dylan Strome on an expiring deal. That's interesting. Only making $1.9 million. What? What kind of numbers has this guy put up? 53 points last season. So there's a guy to consider, even in terms of someone we could keep longer term as our future third-line centerman if he wants to take cheaper than Cody Glass. I don't know. Christian Dvorak, who just got signed. Nick Schmaltz on an expiring deal as an 85 overall. Sonny Milano. Steven Stamkos, 2 years left, though, on him. Ruzicka, Evgeny Svechnikov, Alex Kerfoot. Over in Buffalo, Ryan Pulock, 2 years left on his deal as an 87 overall. Calgary Flames, Faxa, 1 year left on his deal, 34 years of age. Carolina, Zadina, Pionk, Slavin, and Kotkaniemi all with multiple years on their deal. Jake Bean on an expiring deal for him. Offensive defenseman, 3.5-star defense. I think the defense is pretty solid. If anything, it would be a forward move. Baudin and Bear also there. Chicago, we see Schumacher as a prospect. Leddy as a prospect. High top 671 overall at 19 years of age. Who's this guy? Edwin Leddy, 6th overall pick in 2027. Sniper, but a bit wonky in terms of attributes. Keep an eye out for anybody else. If you want to know more, just leave a comment here on YouTube or over on the Discord server, and I can look more closely at that prospect. And if you know any questions you may have, answer any questions. Della Rovere, 69 overall, 19 years of age, medium top 4D. Zach Werenski, 3 years left on the block. Adam Boquist, 2 years left on the block. Max Jones, expiring deal. Elias Anderson, expiring deal. Kulak, Paling, then multiple years on Fabry and Zub in Columbus. Dallas, we have a few prospects there. Detroit, we have Morrissey, 79 overall, 21 years of age. Rylan Morrissey. And there's also Carcillo, Justin Carcillo, power forward with 4-star shooting. Not too bad. In Detroit, Vernarski, Francisco Vernarski, 10th overall pick with nice X factors on the block there in Edmonton. Florida, Puljujärvi, 3 years left. Connor Brown, expiring deal. Duclair, Kuzmenko, Athanasiou. LA Kings, Cowan, this guy Koivu, Purcell. And again, defenseman, I don't know, Cooper Purcell. Minnesota Wild, Nimela, a few other pieces. Montreal Canadiens, we see Brett Pesce on the block. We were thinking about Brett Pesce back in the day. Now here is on the block in Montreal. Gavrikov, Ristolainen, Norlinder, Whitecloud. Grabeshkov in Nashville. Yuri Grabeshkov, 12th overall pick in 2026. New Jersey Devils, Hamilton, Alexiak, and Brodin all on the block, expiring deals. Islanders, Pelech, Romanov, Fervy, and Prunovich, all expiring deals. Rangers, we see a bunch of prospects, pretty interesting ones, I have to say. Let me know if any pique your fancy. Ottawa Senators, various pieces. Flyers, various pieces. Pittsburgh Penguins, Burakovsky, he finds his way over to Pittsburgh and he's already on the block. O'Reilly, Mantha, Raquel, Evander Kane, Logan Brown, etc. Seattle, Bjorkstrand, Niederreiter, Wenberg, Engvall, and down the list they go there. St. Louis, Nieto, Boyd, and Bluger. Tampa Bay, just various prospects. Toronto, Morgan Riley, 2 years left on his deal. Interesting. Vancouver, a bunch of prospects. Over in Winnipeg, come on. And sorry, Vegas. We have a few prospects here as well. And then in Washington, Soucy and Sammy Blais, our old friend on Dallas. And on the Jets, we see more prospects there. So some interesting pieces. Sorry for taking a bit longer than usual. Just looking a bit more closely at some of the prospects who are available. But that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. There's the draft. There's free agency. Not any major changes to the team. Ranta coming in on his ELC is probably the biggest change, as well as the player growth. But personnel-wise, we're not changing too much. We have Hornquist between the pipes right now. Kivi Haru joins us in the top 4 for the defense as well. But not too many other changes. Our major questions are, 1, what's up with the 4th line? 2, once those decisions are made, who's getting traded out, who's staying, etc. 3, any contract extensions, and 4, any potential trade targets of interest. So I think that's just about it for now. Looking forward to the preseason and your suggestions on what you want to see in the preseason and what would mean what. Also remember that we can add up to 3 X factors on up to 3 players. If there are any players that you believe to be deserving of an X factor, please let me know and we'll do our best to get it on them. Aside from that, I will edit the rest of the league, make sure everyone's on the same page, everyone is getting their fair share of X factors. And we'll go ahead and stop there after a busy offseason that from start to finish took me a good 4 or 5 hours with all the Timo Meier stuff going on. So I'm happy to just stop here. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more breaking news and analysis in the real world of hockey, NHL 23 franchise mode, career simulation, and much more. It's a great community, but it would be even better with you as a part of it. So please join in, whether it be just here leaving your thoughts or joining us over on the Discord server where we talk about much more than just these franchise mode series. I'll leave you off there. Thank you very much for taking the time to enjoy, and I'm looking forward to reading your thoughts headed into year number 7, the 2028-29 season.